Peace. Damn. Happy now. Now's the vibrate, of course. Not too far in the future. Not too far in the past. Right now. I could have made this a thing fast, but I figured the type of subject it's dealing with, I could end up talking long about it, so whatever. But but just going off of this quote that I recently just heard, forgot the author of this quote. Matter of fact, because where I heard it from, the person didn't have the author of this quote, but it was very profound. And I know when sources speaking to me through other people, and this is just something to share. But basically, with great amounts of energy, with great amounts of abilities, you know what I'm saying, and being a high vibrational being and being what we call quote unquote light worker, you know what I'm saying, it takes a tremendous amount of responsibility. And the quote basically was like the people who need love the most are the people who we may find it the hardest to love, or to show that love. You think about like all the people who's sacrificing babies and oppressing people, or trying to oppress people with the laws they put in place, or these law enforcement people who just gun down melanated people without even thinking twice about it. These are people who need love, in essence, and I even say in essence, I mean that's what it is. The reason why they're showing what they're showing is because of the lack of love within themselves. It's because of the lack of love that that they were shown growing up, or whatever the case may be. But it's a time now where a lot of us have to step to the plate in that unconditional love realm. Like, of course, there's some people, like, and I always make this joke about, like, I'll hug a KKK member, but I be serious in that. Like, I realize the lack of self-love and the lack of love in general that resides within somebody who would have that much hate for a person just because of the color of their skin. And of course, their situation is deeper than just hating, of course, but not to get deep in that subject, but there are people who need love nonetheless, and with helping the growth of of this physical realm and just raising the vibration in general, it comes with bringing in the vibration of love, even if the vibration of love is not always shown in your physical existence around you. Our job is not to react to that lack of love. Our job is to bring down the love within our body and bring it out, to help combat with that lack of love being shown on the physical level. So we definitely have that responsibility, and and we should step up to the plate on a maturity level on our spiritual growth to like the ignorant conversations you might hear in public, and you feel the need to want to go back into that ego mode and fuss with them about the situation. But it's for us to just stand back and just love in some situations. A lot of situations not going to be fixed with physical actions as well, like just our vibration in general helps bring change. The fact that we're vibrating on a certain frequency and then we're in other people's energy fields, again, I always bring up like how we're walking Wi-Fi, so when you come across that person that's all drunk, standing in line at the grocery store or at the the little corner store, they all drunk, and they, what you looking at, this and that, you could like indulge and like, oh, you know, this and that, and then or even by indulging in words in general, you don't even have to go to that level with words, but just by talking back to that being, you know, you're kind of involving yourself in a lower vibration. But you know, it's those moments like that where you like, you know, you just kind of, you don't judge in that moment, because again, the people who you know, need the love the most is the ones that we find the hardest to love, you know. And that's those people that may you know, just be drunk and say brash things to everybody. You know, that's the person that need love. That's not the person we should be looking at like, you know, like judging them like, this person is very rude, or this person is very drunk. They need to clean themselves up, and they need, you know, that's speaking from a judgmental place. We need to send love and light to that person, you know. As a matter of fact, or envision seeing that person in their high vibrational state, you know, in which we, if a lot of us don't do this automatically, a lot of us are capable of this ability of, like, where you see somebody that may be down on their luck, say for instance, and you can envision them like, you know, having their hygiene up, running a business, you know, you envision them in a higher light, you know, whatever the case may be. And that's part of you know, what we're doing for quote unquote light work, you know. Matter of fact, reason why I'm like this with some of these terminologies, because it's like it gets a bad energy from being, you know, with the new age and light work and this and that, you know. Saying those terminologies sometimes just give off a you know, a vibe that just the energy has been tampered with when speaking on these vibes. And so I just like light work, you know, for lack of a better word, you know. But for those of us who feel that it is our mission to help raise the vibration on this physical, you know, realm, you know, it's very important for us to remember that those people who we find it hard to love, you know, that's the people who need love the most. I think about like Tupac speaking to a situation where it's like, man, like with the gold, like I don't need no gold roof and this and that to talk to God. Like basically how you know, the rich people and all the money that go into church, and how, you know, it's people who don't really need church who's sitting in there, you know, going to church. And which, speaking on going to church, that's a realm that's being eliminated, you know, right now in this moment. But I'm just speaking in the context of what he was talking about, because in the context of what he was talking about, and when he was talking about it, you know, dealing with going to church was kind of relevant, you know what I'm saying? But you know, just speaking to the fact that, you know, spiritual awakening and getting closer to God is for the people who really, really struggle with that, and not people that just say, oh, hey, you know, I want to go to church every Sunday and talk to God, and I put this much money into church, and, you know, like just flaunting church and spirituality like it's just a little physical garment or something like that, you know. And again, back to, it's like, you know, these people making sure the ceilings are made out of gold, and, you know, for lack of a better word, and all these different little paintings and how beautiful. I mean, we just trying to talk to God, you know. We not trying to you know, gaze at gold ceilings, and, you know, and all these things are good, because indirectly, you know, with them building these temples, they're trying to mimic the Kemetic or Egyptian you know, pyramids. And so they're trying to, you know, like with the gold to generate energy, and, you know, have a nice quote unquote feng shui to these places, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, it's just about bringing in the energy so you can connect with source, and not just any just, oh, this is you know, just like what we call rich things to put into place just so it could have like a, you know, like, oh yeah, this is expensive, this is expensive. Like, something being expensive doesn't necessarily relate to being close to God in essence. So, you know, and I know this conversation, you know, it's bouncing everywhere, as it should. You know, that's some of my best videos, and getting off information comes from when I speak on one subject and I just kind of bounce in the general area of, that one subject. That's why they make this a thing fast. But definitely, again, just remembering to have that strength in raising our own vibration, and make sure, it's also, again, it's not about forcefully trying to change or help nobody outside of our body as much as it's raising the vibration within ourselves, helping ourselves. And as we help ourselves, it's going to give off a vibration that could, help others. So, again, back to the loving vibe, the people who need, who needs that love the most are gonna be the people who we find it hard to love. So just remember that, sometimes, and it happens if we're not fully on our meditate, or it's been a while since we meditated, or we've been around some lower vibrations, and we come across somebody, might be asking for change, just like, hey, can I borrow a quarter? And then that ugly vibe of the ego come out like, oh, you should go work for that, this and that. And it's like, and then you catch yourself like, nah, you know what I'm saying? Like, that person is, just needs some love, it doesn't need my egotistical judgment in this moment. This person needs to be sent, some unconditional love and high vibrations and positive vibes towards them, helping themselves, and not my judgment, or anything, outside of sending that person love and loving that person, because everybody and everything is a reflection of ourselves. So, in some dimension, you are that poor person looking for help. You are that quote-unquote crazy person, or that person that's having trouble quitting prescription pills, or that person that got molested as a little kid. Like, we are all those things, together, and that we are reflections of each other, and that's where the empathy comes in. So just definitely don't just be over judgmental, or let that judgmental ego kick in moments when we should be sending love to somebody, and sending loving and helping energy towards their energy field, so to speak. But that's basically it. Just to remember, that those people we find it the hardest to love, that Klans member that's screaming all that hate. It's like, bruh, somebody loves you, baby. Somebody loves you, baby. That's what it is, man. They just lacking love, So send them a little bubble of love. And that's also not saying that you are blindly loving, because I also caught that omens of somebody. That's another thing. Like, I heard people asking that question. So you mean you want me, when I'm being threatened, when my life is being threatened by somebody, this and that, I should love them and this and that? Well, look at it like this. How much is that person really threatening your life? You know what I'm saying? Like, with situations like that, where, if you feel like, it's like a hate group that's against you, of course, there are malicious people out there, that want to do physical, harm to people. But in situations, when it's obvious that nobody is doing physical harm to you or trying to do it, you have no reason to be like, oh, I gotta be prepared to punch that person at all times. Like, nah, if that person ain't like threatening you with, with that energy themselves, if they're just like preaching hate and like, I hate you because of this, I hate that. I mean, am I really being threatened? It's more like a kid just explaining how it doesn't like ice cream and what color ice cream it doesn't like. That's the way I would look at it, but we all different. Not asking you to look at this situation like exactly how I look at it, just sharing, my experience and how I deal with energy. But as a whole, though, you know, we all should definitely be just remembering that the people who we find it hardest to love needs the most love. Peace. Happy now. Now is the vibrate. Not going too far in the future. Not going right now. Motorcycle hating on my outro. Peace, y'all.